There's people down here already at the reunion, and I'm here, still in the middle of the season, but that's okay. So I really would like someone to help me understand what was Angela's purpose when she chose to bring up whatever issue or tried to clear the air with Shamea. Me personally, I just felt that that was not the time or the place, considering this was about, her mother's, you know, what is it, celebration of life. It was a moment where they were all meant to come together, something light, something positive. Me personally, I wouldn't have done it there. But then at the same time, this is a TV show. This is, who knows when will be the next time that they'll be able to have, this time together again. But before we get into this episode, before we get into whatever happened, I would like to formally apologize for my absence. As you have seen, I have not been uploading on my channel for The Real Housewives of Atlanta and everything else that I normally upload on my channel for pretty much a few months now. And it is due to the fact that I will spare all the details, but it's just due to the fact that I have had some sort of personal mental stuff pop up. I am on the road to getting better. I am in a better place, and pretty much I am here to just pick up where I left off. So I'll be reviewing as usual. I know that the season is almost over. I know that they literally just did the reunion, and I'm pretty sure it's already aired one of the first episodes. So I'll try to catch up as best as I can, but I will get it done. So this is the Real Housewives of Atlanta season number 17, episode number 12, and I will be going through the episode like I always did, and just sort of picking what was interesting and, in a way, explaining what I found or giving my thoughts on things that happened within the episode. So I have my iPad down here, so if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my iPad. So pretty much we start at the very start, and Cynthia comes over to Angela's house, and they pretty much just have a catch up and sort of break down on their plans for the Bailey Q slash, you know, catch up on everything that's going on with the group. Cynthia fills Angela in about everything Shamia said about their catch up, about her surrogacy journey, her mom being ill as well, and her going to therapy. And I wrote here she isn't going, so I'm not too sure why Shamia isn't going. Well, she did mention that she just didn't have time, but I also feel like it's important to make therapy a priority, especially just in general. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you're from or what you have on. I just feel like therapy should definitely be a priority for everyone. Take it from myself, but it's not about me. It's about the show. Angela talks to Cynthia about her mother, and she wants to do a celebration of life just to like honor her mom's memory, because I'm pretty sure in the episode they mentioned that by the time they were doing all this, it's coming up to like the year anniversary of the mom. So I think it's beautiful that she wants to do something to honor her mother. She wanted to include everyone, and Cynthia suggested that they do a Bailey Bowl. They agreed on doing a basketball game for the Bailey Bowl, and Charles being a referee, because obviously Charles is an ex-basketball player. Porsha and Miss Diane. So Porsha arrives at her mom's house, well, Porsha's old house with Pilar. Porsha pretty much states that she has an all cash offer for the current house that her mother lives in, and so pretty much like her mother's about to move out. And Portia's going to sell the house. Porsha catches her mom up on them, skating, and apparently she broke her toenail, so she just explains everything to her mother. She brings up that they're going to Scotland, so both Phaedra and Porsha will be hosting the trip, which I think will be so cool because both of them were on the TV show Traitors. I'm not sure if anyone watches it. I don't watch it. I've only seen like from what is it called, social media clips and people's explanation of what the show is about. So because while when the trip had come up was around the same time Porsha was on Traitors, so which all ties in and which all makes sense. And I think going to Scotland would be pretty interesting because I always associated these housewife holidays or getaways with somewhere tropical, somewhere with sun, somewhere just not Scotland. So I think it'll be pretty interesting, and I look forward to that episode actually. Porsche also tells her mom about Dennis coming over with the old engagement ring and everything that he had said during that conversation. And we've already been down this road. I mentioned how I felt and how I felt that, it was a very poor move, a poor choice for Dennis to bring this over. Like, you had your chance with this woman. You had your time, not once, but twice, to fix everything and redo everything, but you messed it up. So I I was on Portia's side with this, and I 100% agree with how Porsha reacted because like anyone would react the same. Like it's a natural human reaction, and you know my heart goes up out to Porsha, honestly, especially to do with that scenario. Um, so that's pretty much like Portia and her mom. We then go over to Kelli, and she arrives and she's meeting with her financial advisor. So Kelli meeting with her financial advisor to plan out pretty much her next steps. So they explain how like one of her restaurants, I think the first one that she had opened brings in like over $70,000 a year, a month. I cannot remember because like literally when I made this notes, I made it like a while ago, and I only just sort of briefly looked through the episode again. Anyway, she mentions that the new restaurant that she opened in Sandy Springs isn't doing too well, which I assume is the one that is closed right now. So they sort of break down, Kelli's budget and how much Kelly's spending, whether it comes to clothes, whether it comes to insurance, the beauty department, and one of the things that popped up to me was like beauty is like 2,000 what 500 or like pretty much more than 1,500, around $3,000, and I'm just like that is insane. I get that the upkeep for these kinds of things or people that participate in these shows, like there is a lot that comes with it, like paying for stylists and then paying for makeup and then paying for photographers and all that. But this is insane. Like when they listed all these prices, I'm like, oh my god, Kelli, we definitely do need to cut back. We do need to minimize a few things just to get ourselves ahead, just to get ourselves to a place where things are good. And I wish her well. So they pretty much did all the calculations, and the financial advisor came, I guess, to a figure pretty much over $22,000 a month. Like that is insane. The fact that that is literally probably half of someone's salary for a year, or a quarter of someone's salary for a year, is what is being spent on somewhat frivolous things. I will say. I will not. I'll say somewhat. Anyway, I wrote here that she needs to figure out how to consolidate her debt and probably leave or like live a little below her means. And that is something that I need to take on for myself as well. But my name is not Kelli, and I'm not on the show, so we'll not talk about me on camera. One of those being like Chacha's hair dye and all that. Like that is Chacha the dog, by the way. Like that is insane. Like I get that you want to take care of your pets, you want to take care of your kids, but maybe instead of getting something extravagant, maybe half as extravagant. Like, I mean, I personally, I feel like I would do that way, but at the same time, who am I to judge? What the hell? Something fell around here. Anyway, so they show Kay Michelle meeting up with the plastic surgeon. I'm sorry that I'm laughing. Now, the reason I sort of chuckled a bit with whenever then Kay Michelle with the plastic surgeon, because I feel like every time we see Kay Michelle either by herself or with her husband, she's always meeting up with the plastic surgeon. Like if it's not her music, like I feel like, kind of side note, I also feel like for some reason we don't really get them like doing like at home scenes or like them just chilling at home. It's always like events. It's always like a dinner, which is fine. We love seeing that, but at the same time, I feel like the show now is missing that like homely home feeling, like down home, just chilling at home with their family, or either as a group just doing normal stuff. But maybe just that's just me. But let me just keep my mouth shut because I'm out here with my late reviews. I thank you all for the support, and I really appreciate it. Love you all. Um, so yeah, Kay Michelle meets up with the plastic surgeon. I'm just gonna skip past because the episodes that I'm on is like pretty late anyway. So moving on. So they show Angela and Amari at home. So they pretty much like catch up and rehash over, I guess, where their relationship is at, and they sort of talk briefly about, or not briefly, like extensively in a way, about Amari's marriage. And my one question is, who is Amari married to? What I'm saying, who by what by me saying who, I'm just coming from a place of it comes across that maybe Angela doesn't like who she's married to. Not the fact that she's married to a woman, but like, is it someone that's way older? Is it someone that they shouldn't be together? Or is it someone that, has probably done something to Amari that we are missing something in the mix? Because to me, it's like, it's very, very confusing. And as we saw in this episode, like, when they were talking about it, Angela finds out that Amari hasn't told, like, I guess her siblings, her younger siblings, about them being married. And, like, sorry. And it's also my question, like, okay, so Angela doesn't agree. Shamari's not telling people who she's married to, let alone telling her younger siblings. So I'm like, is there something wrong with this woman? Like, the one that she's married to, what about this woman is keeping her from being shown, or keeping her from being introduced to her family, to her siblings? Like, I don't know, it's a dynamic that I'm really trying to understand. Um, so pretty much, yeah. It's like they had that conversation. To me, it pretty much went nowhere. Like, they sort of came to a disagreement, and then Amari pretty much stormed off. Like, to me, I would say she stormed off, and that was it. And then we go to Shamea and her mother, and then they talk about the upcoming Scotland trip. And then Shamea just sort of says that, she really wants to have a good time. She wants to be over there to experience the culture. She also brings up how her mother, has medical issues, or she's sick or something, which, my heart goes out to her mother. I hope that whatever she has on, like, she's able to get to the other side of it. But, that's growing, you know, getting further in life. Oh my god. I just hope that I'm doing everything I can to preserve my freaking body and make sure that I'm good. I'm so sorry. I'm crashing out on the camera. It's like I haven't done this in so long that here I am, like, just stumbling over my words, and like I feel like I'm getting nervous, like I'm sweating a bit. While they were talking about the trip as well, Shamea mentions like packing, and then I think her stylist or someone says, maybe take a backpack, after what happened last year when they went to Grenada, when pretty much she lost her bag. I don't even know if she found her bag, but she lost her bag and she was just fighting for her damn life on the island. From here we go over to Porsha at home, and they show Drew arriving to Porsha's house. They share like some green smoothie, they do shots, and then they start talking about business. And then actually, before they started talking about business, they talk about how it came out in the blogs that Simon pretty much has Porsha banned from Nigeria. But at the same time, it's like, Simon, who are you? Like, you are not the king of Nigeria. You are not the president of Nigeria, let alone the whole continent of Africa. Like, how can you block someone from traveling? But Simon being Simon, looking for attention. And speaking of attention, Porsha also mentioned that, each time that pretty much her name's mentioned in the blogs, it's like sales for Go Naked spike, or like, she mentioned that she made $50,000, which I think is beautiful and insane. And you know what? Go you. As Funky Dineva says, pay me for my pain. So Porsha, if this man is giving you pain, which he is, and he's dragging your name through the mud, which he is, pay up. And I'm glad that he's paying you up. Speaking of pay up, she also brings up the fact that she would like Drew to come on and have pretty much like a wig line. I nearly said hairline, but hairline's the entire company. She wants to bring Drew on to have her own wig line, and I think it's beautiful. And considering like where they were at the start of the first episode last season, when they both were going back and forth because Drew was having like photo shoots to promote the wig, and then Porsha was like, "No, this is my company." Blah blah blah. I am so happy to see that they have turned over a new leaf, and then we will also see Cynthia joining in with a wig line as well. I think later in the season we got to see them do like the photo shoots, because I have seen like the pictures all over social media. So I think it's great, and I think it's like a way forward. And Porsha pretty much is saying, she didn't say this, but it's like she's chucking her a bone to like help her, and sort of like what Candy did when Porsha was going through her divorce. So all in all, I hope that it pans out well. But then we also saw what happened at the start, which Drew did by start of last season with whatever happened between Porsha and Drew. Drew did also mention that I guess she's keeping a good eye on Porsha, and it is what it is. It's human nature. I don't blame you. And then a little funny thing at the end, they were talking. Porsha pretty much picks on Drew for how she's eating chicken wings, and apparently she is not eating the chicken correctly, which insane. That is so funny. That was so cute though. We now go to the next scene, which shows Kelli meeting up with a realtor. Um, my thing is, why are you meeting up with a realtor? Only, and I'm only saying this because also, like in literally one of the previous scenes in this episode, we were breaking down your budget or talking about how to, I guess, downscale in a way. And we also know that they showed, I think, last episode or last week on the flashbacks. Um, obviously, Kelli had moved into Shamea's rental, or Shamea had given her like somewhere to stay, which I think is great. But at the same time, Kelli, why are you in a rush? Because I think Shamea did say, take all the time you need. Why are we in a rush? Like, I get that maybe you don't really want to come across like you're leeching of someone, but like someone who is your friend, someone who is genuinely probably more understanding of where you are than the rest of us viewers. I feel like just stay there maybe for a few months, maybe 3 months if you can, or if you feel like you need to contribute, then come up with a plan. Come up with a plan on how you want to pay or how much you can pay realistically and go from there. Because I don't think Shamea is scratching for money like that. I don't think Shamea comes across like she would be that sort of a person who would like, put you out. But you know what? You do you, Kelli. Anyway, so they go and look at this townhouse. It's a really nice townhouse. I think the asking price is like $7,000 a month in rent, which is insane. Because like Kelli, we just talked about this, and then they also show that pretty much her budget is $4,000. So like I'm like, if the asking price is $7,000, why are you looking for something when you have a budget of $4,000? Like let's be for real here, Kelli. Like it looks like a beautiful place, but I just feel like for now, for our friend Kelli, Chacha's mummy, I don't think that we need to do that now. I think that we need to stick to the budget, maybe even be realistic and live underneath the budget for a bit, like live below your means until you can have, things stabilized, until we can get the restaurants like up and running, not up and running, it's already up, but unsure about the running bit, until we can get the restaurants like, up and turning over quickly or turning over like a good profit and profit that's like sustainable and ongoing and X, Y, and Z. Right? That's me anyway. That's what I think. I also feel like I was appreciative of how I think the realtor gave like sound advice about coming up with a plan, and when Kelli said, I think she or Kelli mentioned about like the potential of buying house in the future, and I think that whatever that she suggested, I think Kelli should follow that, and I think Kelli should run with it because things are getting more expensive. Please don't go and do not commit fraud, but so they go back to Angela at home, and then we see that Angela and Amari are meeting up with Angela's therapist via the phone. So I wrote down here, Amari doesn't understand why she was supposed to tell her siblings about her marriage. She mentions that she was uncomfortable telling her mother, Angela, which is my question as well. Like, why? Like, what is causing you to be uncomfortable? Like, I don't think it's because she's married to a woman. Is there something about this woman that we don't know? Because I don't want to throw this out there, but I swear, I feel like Angela did say that in maybe one of the previous episodes that Shamari is now 25, right? And she was probably with this person since she was before 18. And if this person is way older than Amari, I hope that's not the case. I truly, truly hope that that is not the case. But at the same time, hey, I don't know. But it comes across like that. Like, I can't think of an actual reason why that Angela wouldn't want. Anyway. So they pretty much talk about, the relationship, and then, I guess Angela wants to like establish some boundaries, and Amari says that Angela establishing her boundaries comes across like she doesn't need Amari. I need to understand why. Hopefully we'll break that down soon. Because I feel like I'm so confused, just like the dynamics of the marriage and how that relates to her family dynamics as well as Angela's boundaries. They also talk about her grandmother, and, I guess it's how hard it is on everyone. And from what they both had said, it seems like Angela's mom, Amari's grandmother, was like the mediator, the person that was like, their go-between, the person that was able to like, be like the liaison officer, was the one that was like, able to bring them together. And that's sad because now she's gone and they're just like had a chicken running around. Um, so the next episode is the day of the Bailey Q, or Maggie Madness in honor of Angela's mother. So we see everyone's arriving with their teams, and what is it? We see Cynthia. She brings Prince, which is her boyfriend, or Le Prince, I think. So they'll all be playing basketball, and pretty much it's like five on, so five versus five, five either side. I'm probably explaining this wrong. And then you have Charles as the coach, not the coach, the ref, because obviously Charles is an ex basketball player, and they show them arriving with the teams. Like obviously on Angela and the team, you have people that look like they're basketball players arriving, and Cynthia's like, well, I just have like Le Prince and my makeup team or whatever. And then you see Pinky rock up with her crew, Shamea rocks up with the crew, and then Phaedra. Who was that man in the grey? The light skinned one. He kind of looks like Apollo to me. I was like, interesting. Anyway, and then Porsha rocks up with her team, and then we see Mike, as in the one she's not with now because she's with Sway. I'm like, oh, I'm tired of seeing this man because obviously we know how it ends. We know how she is with Sway now, and I actually really like them together, just from what I see on TV and online. And then Cynthia obviously opens up the event, and starts talking and introduces everyone plus the team names, and she says that this is the second annual Bailey Q, and I screamed because I remembered that I think the first one was in season 6, I believe. It was the one where at the time Marlo wasn't friends with Nene, so she was friends with Kenya, and then Marlo wanted to have a conversation with Nene because she was not on Nene's team. And then that's when Marlo was like, go and get the Donald Trump hair redone, but that's in the past. But that made me laugh because I thought of that time. I was like, wow, that was like 10 seasons ago. That's insane. Anyway, so obviously like they start their game. So they're playing 5-on-5 pretty much. I was wondering why Kelli was running around in heels. Phaedra had the same questions as well. Angela was explaining to Charles in the confessionals why she named Shamea's team Sasquatch. And he was like, well, yeah, pretty much like affirming what Shamea said about Angela's feet. And I'm just like, Charles. He was making fun of it, but I was like, oh my God, Charles. Insane. I thought that they were funny. Actually, I thought that their chemistry in this particular episode, especially in the confessionals, was elite. Like the way that they were going back and forth, the way that they were, laughing with each other. Like I thought it was so cute. Like it was nice to see because I just felt that I rarely would see that from them in the confessionals. I'm not saying everywhere. Clearly, I don't live with them. Like I live here in Australia. So pretty much after the what is it called? After the Bailey Bowl, they gather in a circle, like all the cast members, the girls, and they just start talking about stuff. And pretty much, Angela brings up what did she bring up? Actually, no. Before something, Shamea, you are so wrong for this. So pretty much after the game, they're all sitting down, laughing. Whatever. Angela's team wins, and then Shamari comes up, and Shamea pretty much goes to her, "You're way nicer than your mama." Like, why would you say that? That is insane to say. Like, I get that Amari's, not a child, but that is weird. That is insane. Shamea, what was the purpose of you saying that? And then if Amari were to turn around and say something crazy to you, then she would be well within her rights. Because I'm sorry, why are you saying that about my mother to me? I get that you and my mother may have had whatever happened between you two, but this is weird. Do not bring this. So interesting. That was weird to me. Shamea. Anyway, where are we? So obviously, like, they try to like rehash some whatever is going on between I'm leaning because I'm bored talking about this. What I mean by I'm bored, as in like Shamea and Angela, like I don't really understand where or why we're doing this or what is going on. Now, what I mean by what is going on, as in, yeah, what is going on? Why do you two pretty much are hurling insults back to each other, especially when it comes to like your marriages? Like obviously, Shamea brings up the fact about last year's whole thing at the finale, and when they brought that bald-headed guy, and she pretty much said that like you set up your husband for whatever. And then Angela then rehashes, how what she stated, and she just says that, Shamea, how she keeps or gets her jobs is, through sleeping with the Hawks players. And I'm just like, I'm done with this. Like, I really don't want to talk about this anymore. So moving right along, like I said at the start of this video, I don't understand why they had to have this rehash or bring up everything at the end of this event, considering one of, the main reasons for this event was to honor Angela's mother. Like, I don't know. It is what it is. Moving on. At the very, very end, Shamea, in her confessional, she said something that really touched my heart. Maybe I'm a softie because once someone starts crying, I'd start feeling for them. You could be a villain. I'd be like, Anyway, so Shamea was like, I agree when she said that, like once Angela had the one problem with her, suddenly everyone wanted to jump in. So it was like everyone versus Shamea. And I get that. But at the same time, too, I'm going to, Shamea, I'm going to tell you this. I get that you don't want to feel that way. I get that you don't want to feel outed. Like, Shamea, to me, she comes off like someone that she wants to be in. And that is fine to an extent. But at the same time, there is nothing wrong with standing on your own. Like, you are also friends with someone by the name of Kenya Moore. We all saw what life was like for her on this show, in season pretty much 5, 6, 7, most of her run. The fact that she was able to take on the entire cast by herself, Shamea. I don't know what we need to do. Do we need to dig deep? Do we need some mantras on the wall? Do we need to stand in the mirror in the morning and give us a little pep talk? Do some power moves? Like, Shamea, I understand what you were saying about you're tired of everyone jumping in and now it makes you not want to be a part of the group. But at the same time, Shamea, I just feel like some of the disagreements that we're having either could have been let go a long time ago or could have been brought up by yourself a long time ago so we can move on. Because now we're just bouncing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Anyway, this is the end of the review for episode number 12. I thank you all so much for joining. And once again, my apologies for this. There's people down here already at the reunion, and I'm here. Still in the middle of the season, but that's okay. You know what? Continuation matters. And also, I like where I'm sitting now because I'm actually in my dining room and not in my room. But I thank you all so much for watching. Please join me for the next one, which I'll probably upload like tomorrow. Everyone's going to be like, damn, now you're popping everything out. Yes. I love you all. Bye.